What advice would you give an aspiring investor who's maybe 6 to 12 months behind where you're at right now?
I would say just keep at it,
Mhm.
keep analyzing the deals, keep going to meetups, keep trying to surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do and keep in contact with them, keep building your network, keep educating yourself and just keep going. I mean, sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes
Mhm.
every day is different. Every day you get up, you have an opportunity to try to make it happen. That's what you have to do.
Welcome to the Diary of an Apartment Investor podcast. I'm your host, Brian Briscoe with Four Oaks Capital. Got another great show for everybody today, one of our first deal series episodes. And today we have with us on the line, Scott Kidd from Southern Florida area. So Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Brian? Nice to be here.
Good. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your time. So tell us a little bit about yourself to start off, kind of build the story up and tell us, who you are and how you found real estate.
Currently, I'm a professional yacht captain and
Mhm.
just recently gotten into multifamily stuff. Originally, I started like a lot of people in real estate. I bought my first house because the captain that I worked for
Mhm.
initially, he hounded me, said, "You got to buy something. You can't just leave the money sitting in the bank. You got to buy something." And then bought the house, got married. Several years later, we were looking to move to a different neighborhood because of the kids, closer to the kids' school. Rented the house and then moved into another house, different neighborhood. Kept
Mhm.
that for about 5 years. Met a friend of a friend, and he had owned a 46 unit apartment, and he'd turned it around and sold it, and he'd quite a bit of money. And I literally asked him, I said, "You can do that?" And he goes, "Yeah, you can do that. Anybody can do that." And I said,
Mhm.
"Really?" So I started doing some research and started kind of meeting a lot of people. And it was a couple of years ago we sold the rental property, and the
Mhm.
intention was to get into smaller multifamily and then larger multifamily. It took a while. I found bigger pockets and everything, and I realized there were a lot of meetups, and I ended up meeting a lot of people.
Mhm.
And I probably went to about 10 meetups, and I finally went to one that I met my current partner now
Mhm.
2 years ago. And it was the first meetup that I went to that they weren't trying to sell me something. So
Yeah.
everyone's friendly and nice and talked about real estate, told me about what they were doing, and met a lot of people I still speak to now. And
Mhm.
it kind of just grew from there. And then a year and a half later or so, partner Annette, she asked me if I wanted to be in on a 13 unit in up the Daytona area. And then it kind
Nice.
of started there and in the multifamily space. But before that, I invested in a limited partnership.
Mhm.
And that kind of, because I had kept going through all the analysis paralysis and putting
Mhm.
in offers and that kind of thing. And it just kept I kept going and everything else. And a lot of people were pretty encouraging in the multifamily space. I
Mhm.
really like because it's a team
Right.
effort and people are willing to help out.
Yeah.
Originally,
Nice.
I'm from Jamaica. My dad's Jamaican, my mom's American. I grew up in Texas.
Okay.
There in the late '70s. Graduated from University of Texas.
Mhm.
Did a lot of different things from IT, got my pilot's license. I had my own IT business in Austin, Texas.
Mhm.
And then got laid off. I was back in Jamaica and then got into boating through a friend of a friend that was in the Navy. And
Mhm.
then went from there to South Florida and started buying my first house. And that's kind of where
Yeah.
it all started.
So I got to ask the question: Is being a yacht captain as cool as it sounds?
Well, it has its days like anything else. I mean,
Mhm.
we just got back from New England, and it was a great trip. I love being on the water. For me,
Mhm.
I'll be doing it until tell me I can't do it anymore. But it can be. It has its trying moments. It can be pretty busy, but the trip by itself was probably about 7, 8 weeks straight. Maybe a day or two off here and there. We had a couple little breakdowns that we had to kind of just go straight through and solve and just keep going. For the most part, I love it. I mean, I love being on the water. There's
Hmm.
nothing better than that for me, just being out on a passage somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Hmm.
Seems to be uncomfortable for some people, but for me, I'm at peace, I guess, because I'm single-minded at that point.
Yeah.
My focus is get everybody there safely,
Hmm.
and I don't think about anything else.
Yeah. I've been on several, big Navy ships, in the
Oh,
middle
wow.
of oceans. I've crossed the Pacific a couple of times and
Oh,
been in Indian Ocean and lots of other, oceans, Gulf bays, seas or whatever. And
yeah,
there is a certain beauty. I
yeah,
don't know if I enjoy being on the water, but there are times where I just love, putting a little deck chair out somewhere, and just watching
yeah,
the water. It's serene, it's calm, it's peaceful, and I
yeah,
do at times enjoy it. I don't know if I enjoy 7 months straight on a ship like I've been, but
yeah.
um,
That could be kind of tough.
yeah. So got it. So currently yacht captain, starting to build your real estate portfolio. One question I'd like to ask everybody who comes on the podcast, what's your big burning why? What's your motivation?
Well, my motivation is basically I want to take my time back. I want to have
Hmm.
the option to choose whether I want to work on the boat or not, through passive income and spend more time with the family.
Hmm.
And in this line of work, like a lot of lines of work, once you get to a certain age, you're not as desirable. Like want the younger guy and then want the,
Hmm.
but that's okay. So I have my 10-year plan that working on and working towards that, so I can give myself more options where I can just do deliveries, some project management, because I'll still be involved in that because I
Hmm.
like boats, I like the water. Lucky that I get to do what I like.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head. And a lot of people, who get to be, our age, we're close to the same age, but to get to
Yeah,
be our age, have the same thing. When I was young, the idea, and I was active duty military, the idea of a deployment sounded exciting. The idea of going somewhere new was great. But now 20 years later, when I look at some of the things like that, if I were offered the exact same thing I was offered in my mid 20s, I'd be like, really, do
yeah,
I have
yeah,
to, I'll
yeah,
pass, but yeah, different. I learned that as I get older, different things are more important, and I tend to gravitate more towards staying with the family instead of going away
yeah.
from the family myself. So
It's overall quality of life
yeah.
is the goal anyway.
Yeah.
So I can choose what to do with my time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about one of the deals you've done. Actually, before we do that, let's focus a little more on the meetups. You said you met your partner Annette at one of the meetups. Can you talk about how the meetups have helped you personally and how that team came together?
Well, it helped me because just the overall education, just
Hmm.
in general, just meeting people and learning what books to read, what podcasts to listen to, who to kind of listen to and who to gravitate towards. Just and a lot of people are very encouraging and stuff, and just meeting a lot of people that
Hmm.
are like-minded, that want to accomplish things and do things in the real estate space. It's helped me because really there's anytime I've had an issue or something, I can reach out to people in the network
Hmm.
and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this deal? What do you think about this? And what should I do about this issue? And I've also started my own meetup group for people that work on yachts. So
Nice.
that's I think it's evolving and
Hmm.
it'd be nice because there are a lot of people that work on boats that buy houses and
Hmm.
apartments and stuff, and a lot of them are younger, and I'd like to see them put their money to work while they're on the water. That way they
Yeah.
can have a transition off
Yeah.
if they
Absolutely.
choose.
Yeah, awesome.
And
Now, we talked earlier, right before we hit the record button, but you've recently been involved in an 8 unit and a 13 unit deal.
Yes.
One of the partners was the same in both deals. The other partners weren't. But can you tell me, what it took for you to become comfortable with partnering with other people?
The main thing that made me comfortable was the main partner.
Mhm,
Pretty comfortable with her, and we went through the numbers quite extensively and the location
mhm,
and all the locations. And one of the areas on the 8 unit is something right near a shipyard they're building like 300 condos right near
mhm,
there. And I know the area very well. Matter of fact, been looking for the past 4 or 5 years in that area.
mhm,
And mostly it was her just going through everything, what the plan was. And it was all pretty straightforward. And her confidence in that made it easier for me to take on partners, because it was kind of a new thing for me
mhm,
be involved with other people. I mean, I'd had business partners before, but it's usually just one other person.
mhm.
And like on the boats, we have a lot of people involved sometimes, and just getting things done. So I'm okay with working with other people. I just very careful about who I'm involved with.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she had explained to me that she's known these people for quite some time, and they've done other
Mhm.
things with them. So that kind of sold it to me.
So essentially, if I were to boil this down, you had a really good relationship with Annette. She has a lot of experience, and when she introduced you to the partners, you were relying a lot on her word because you really trusted her.
Yes,
Okay.
and seeing that she has quite a bit of other real estate and
Mhm.
general partner and some larger multifamily stuff, it was a huge influence for me,
Yeah.
and just a chance for me to learn more and get to the next level.
Yeah, and I think that's important to highlight. You were able to latch on to somebody who had more experience than you. You can rely on their experience and their network in a lot of cases to do something that you probably couldn't have done. Let me rephrase that. Not probably couldn't have done, but probably wouldn't have done by
Yeah,
yourself. Could
well,
you have done it? Absolutely. But
it would probably have taken a lot longer for me to
mhm,
get to this point
yeah,
without a jump start like that.
yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
looked at it as a more of an opportunity and a learning
yeah,
experience more than the money in it. It
yeah.
will get me jumpstart me to the next level.
Yeah, I mean it'll pay you, but
Yeah,
the opportunity, yeah, I think there's a lot more to be said about that. And incidentally, when I started in the multifamily route, I had a couple of people offer to help me. And what I was really looking for more than anything else was the experience and the
yeah,
learning for myself, so that maybe I have somebody walk me through the steps on the first deal myself, but
yeah,
eventually I wanted to do it by myself. And
yeah.
that's kind of an easy way to do it. You partner with somebody with experience, you learn the ropes in a little safer environment. You still make money, and then if
A
you
little
choose,
less
you
risks, a
less
little
risk.
less risk.
Yeah. So you're kind of flattening the learning curve in a lot of ways. So us talk about this 13 unit.
Yeah,
Where is it at, and
it's
tell me
in
what your role was.
Port Orange,
Mhm.
Florida, which is the Daytona area south of.
Okay.
It's not very far from the beach, just over the bridge.
Hmm.
The location's really good. The rents were on the market quite a bit. Initially, we were looking at doing a few rehabs of, I think there was 4 or 5 of them, of the units that needed to be redone, but we've since been able to raise the rents and just do some small light rehabs on them and get them off
Hmm.
the market. Initially, on before closing the deal, I was involved with going through and helping set up the plan for inspection reports and prioritizing what our plan was going to be moving
Hmm.
forward based on what we needed to get done. And there wasn't a whole lot that needed to be done other than the roof, which we're on here, should be starting here probably next week.
Hmm.
That's probably one of the major things. There weren't any large hurdles, but now 6 months later, we've ended up having to do a lot less than we initially Oh, and I mean, there's been quite a bit of sweat equity we've all had to put into it, clean up
Mhm.
and it's still evolving. But basically, the plan is going to be refinance after 3 years, and it's going to be a long-term hold. Um,
Nice. What was the purchase price on this property?
Initially, it was, I think, 115
Mhm.
was the initial offer, but ended up getting it for 106
Okay.
million.
So
Um,
just over $1 million purchase price.
yes.
And you said you had planned to do renovations. Do you recall off the top of your head what the total renovation budget you guys had going in?
So I don't recall, but it wasn't really heavy. It was mostly in the 5 units. It wasn't major. The major thing was the roof,
Okay.
which was, I think, I want to say
Which you
was
guys are
around a
doing
hundred
right
thousand.
now?
Yeah,
Okay.
which we're doing now.
All right. And you mentioned sweat equity. Are you guys doing some of the repairs, or how is that
Some like
how's that working?
turning over some of the units, like some of the
Hmm.
units been painted and cleaned up
Hmm.
by us, like pressure cleaning and stuff, and
Hmm.
some paint work, some of the light work. But we've since been able to grow our network, find more people that are able to do the work because
Hmm.
initially, along with the place in the West Palm Beach area, it's been kind of tough to find subcontractors and handymen
Hmm.
people and stuff like that. So had to do
Yeah.
some, but it's all doable. It's all part of the deal. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem doing any of it if it needs to get done. It's not
Hmm.
not a problem for me.
Yeah. And we found the same thing you say, in a lot of areas, finding good people to do the work tends to be
Yeah,
a big challenge now. I think the labor market is extremely tight in a lot of ways. And, when you're looking
there's
for good contractors, good people to work, there's not a lot available anymore.
yeah there's I think there's been a
Hmm.
big gap of skilled people, especially. I mean, you can
Hmm.
find a handyman a little easier, but finding licensed plumbers, electricians. I mean, I don't know if they're still doing it these days, but I remember when I was in high school in Texas, they always had, grade school types skills were taught in high school. It doesn't
Hmm.
seem like they're doing that much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember taking shop classes and
Yeah,
working with power tools in
listen,
school, band saws and yeah.
welding and stuff like that. It's difficult to find
Yeah.
those guys,
Yeah.
and it's
I don't think those are even taught in school anymore. I don't know. I mean,
no,
maybe some of the more vocational type ones, but
yeah. I think you have to go to a specialized school.
yeah.
It's the same thing in the marine industry.
Hmm.
Uh, I have my networks for the past 25 years, so I have a lot of people that I can call, and I mostly just call the people I know they're going to be there.
Hmm.
And the price is not as much of an issue for me. So mostly, I want somebody who's going to get it done for me
Yeah.
and do it right.
Yeah. What we have found is if you go with the cheapest price, you usually end up getting it done a second time. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it's one
never
of those
cheap.
things where, yeah, it's cheaper in the long run to go with somebody who will get it done, even if they're
Yeah,
going to charge a little bit more. It's cheaper in the
yeah,
long run to go with somebody who's reputable and is going to get it done right the first time. We made the mistake of going with a contractor that didn't do a good job. He came in, he quoted us, a price that we love to hear. We're like, wow, this
yeah,
guy says he can do each unit for this amount,
yeah,
and he was going to do a whole bunch of them in a row. But when it all came down to it, and we started looking at what he didn't do right, we found out that we had to go in and fix a lot of stuff, and it ended up being
yeah.
not
Cutting
quite a nightmare,
corners,
but difficult.
yeah,
So
cutting corners and
yeah.
everything else. And the guys that I'm used to calling and stuff are guys that I can leave alone. I know that they're quality. I've been dealing with them for 15 plus years. So I'm looking to build that same kind of network. Because if
Hmm.
you have a good guy, plumber, electrician, welder, what have you, if they're good, they're worth their weight in gold because they can just keep moving from project to project. And the problem is that when find those guys, they're usually so busy and they have so much work that you can't get them,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's worth the wait. If they say they're 6 weeks out, okay, we'll wait.
Yeah. And I had a conversation with a local developer here in Idaho Falls, about a month ago. And he said the same thing. He's like, hey, we have subcontractors that we like and we know that they're going to do well. And he said the last thing they want to do is let their subcontractors go work for somebody else. So
Yeah.
he's like, he does everything he can to keep those subcontractors as booked as possible, so they stay, loyal to him in a way. So I think everybody's looking for that. Everybody's looking for the person that they can rely on, that can do the good job and, be consistent and do well every time, so you're building your network there. Are you looking at, purchasing more in either West Palm Beach or the Daytona areas?
Yes, I'm basically looking at, I'm pretty bullish on Florida in
Mm-hmm.
general. If it's just numbers have to work because the prices are, as you know, pretty high. Cap rates are
Yeah.
compressed and everything else. And anywhere along that corridor around I-95 up
Mm-hmm.
is pretty good. Some areas are better, some markets are better than others. But West Palm Beach, I'm very familiar with the area because I work a lot in that
Mm-hmm.
area where the shipyard is, and it's a up and coming area. And there's a lot of places in Florida that are
Mm-hmm.
up and coming.
Okay.
I'm planning to expand. Have some family in Houston, but I'm not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm.
I lived there for quite some time, but it's so much different than when I was there that I have to go back there and spend some of the time there.
Yeah. Now, these two projects you've done, the 8 and the 13 unit, they were both joint ventures. Do you plan on what do you plan on doing next? Do you plan on keep on looking for, smaller joint ventures that you can get, or do you plan on syndicating? What's next for you?
I do plan on doing some more joint ventures. Mainly, it's about the people that I'm involved with. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm also looking towards doing syndication later on.
Mm-hmm.
But if the opportunity presents itself, then I've got to weigh that pretty heavily because that could be a great opportunity in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Just work with it's mainly about the people that I'm involved with.
Yeah.
That's more important than the deal. Because you get a couple of bad people and it can ruin any deal. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter how good it is.
And I tend to agree. I put people over deals, all of
Yeah,
the time. I will invest with somebody, looking at things from a passive investing lens. I will invest with people that I know and trust,
yes,
regardless of, what pitch deck has the better numbers. And on JVs,
yeah,
it's the same way. If
yeah,
I'm going into a JV, I want to make sure that I like the people, I trust the
yeah.
people, and we can work together. And I think that's smart. I think it's a good recipe for long-term success, and not just the let's get one deal done and
Yeah,
put some
move to the
cash in our
next.
pocket. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and for me, if the right people are involved, I kind of put it in terms of are these people going to go the distance? Like I
Hmm.
know for me and just my background and everything, I'll be the guy that stays the latest or whatever it
Hmm.
takes to get it done. Like on the boat, I've been known to some of the crews of saying like, can we go to bed now? No, we're not done yet. We're
Yeah.
not done. I'll keep going because the way I look at it as the leader on the boat, I have to be up earliest and I have to go to
Hmm.
sleep the latest. I have to set an example for them to say that,
Yeah.
them to know that I'm there for them, and I'm gonna go until it's finished
Yeah.
and look out for them. So I know that that's what I do. So those are the qualities that I look for in other
Hmm.
people, and that's really important to me because
Hmm.
problems happen, things change, life happens. You just have to. It matters how people react or adjust to those situations because those things happen.
Yeah.
And I know I'm pretty easygoing, and know that I'll take a step back, detach for a second, and kind of just go, okay, there's got to be a solution here somewhere. There's got to be a way we can get past
Yep.
it. have
Yeah,
that
and
mentality.
I agree. I mean, you have to kind of know somebody's true colors, know
Yeah.
how they're going to react when things get bad. And that's one of the things that, you have these character building moments, how are people going to react? If someone's going to quit when the going gets tough,
Yeah.
you don't want to be in business with that person because, I hate to say it, but this business is not, all roses and sunshine
No,
like some people think it is.
yeah.
There's a lot of, a lot of work, a lot of things go wrong.
Yeah.
We've replaced two, main water lines in the last month, which, is not fun to deal with, but you still have to deal with them and you have to, do it properly and move forward. But yeah, I think that you bring up some very important points there. So one question, and this incidentally is the question that's going to lead the podcast episode out. So no pressure, Um, what advice would you give an aspiring investor who's maybe 6 to 12 months behind where you're at right now, trying to get their first deal?
I would say just keep at it,
Mhm.
keep analyzing the deals, keep going to meetups, keep trying to surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, and keep in contact with them, keep building your network, keep educating yourself, and just keep going. I mean, sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes
Mhm.
every day is different. Every day you get up, you have an opportunity to try to make it happen. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you have to do. It's not going to be easy. Like you said, it's not sunshine and rainbows. I mean, we
Yeah.
say that on the boat all the time. Yep. Over the next wave, it's sunshine and rainbows.
Yep. And then there's another one. Yeah. So, um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I like that. I like that. But you bring up some really good points. Keep going is a lot of people need to do it. You keep
Yeah.
going, you keep analyzing deals, you keep meeting new people, you keep talking with people who are in the business, you keep learning. And, if you make that an iterative process, each time you're analyzing a new deal, you're doing it from a slightly different perspective with more experience. Each time you talk with new people, you're doing it with, once again, more experience. And so eventually you're going to make that breakthrough. So I think that was the perfect recipe for success right there. So I very much appreciate that. Now, last question: how can listeners learn more about you?
Well, my email address is info at yachty.com. I also
Mhm.
have a meetup group, Yachty Real Estate Investors on Facebook,
Mhm.
a YouTube channel. And that's where you can get a hold of me. I do the meetup
Perfect.
once a month in Fort Lauderdale area. If anybody's in the area in Florida,
Is it a physical
please stop
meetup
by.
or virtual?
Physical meetup. I plan to do
Love
more
those.
virtual because a lot of people I know on the boats in particular can be anywhere at a time. And I would like them to be involved and not
Mhm.
left out, because there's a lot of people that are trying to reach out, and I'd like them to connect with some of the people in the group, and maybe buy some real estate, or find out what they need to find out.
Perfect. All right. Well, hey, thank you very much for your time today. Very much appreciate it. And good luck to you in the future. And hopefully those units that you recently purchased, work out very well for you.
I will. Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for including me in this podcast.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it.